Hey there, folks. My name's Ryan, and this is just an off-the-cuff, no note, uh, just speaking from my mind, off the cuff, uh, talking about life and everything else. And I hope you can join me with this journey. I just started YouTube fairly recently. It's going pretty well, and it's making me really happy. I appreciate people watching, and I'd love for you to like, subscribe, share, or leave a comment of any kind, question, suggestions, subject suggestions, bad jokes. Anyway, I wanted to talk about an experience that I had, and this is an experience. This is actually a long series of experiences. It was a big part of my life, particularly in the late 90s and early aughts. I did a lot of activism. I did a lot of protesting. Now, I was always a capitalist. I know a lot of the people I was protesting with were socialists, and we certainly had conversations about it. I went to lectures about, we'd have meetings and go over books and theory and everything else. And I'd argue with them. Never been a socialist. Never been a communist. Never been a Marxist. I've never been a fascist. I'm anti-socialist. But I believed in everything that I was protesting for at the time, which was a lot of environmental activism and then a lot of political activism. I protested Native Americans having their land taken from them. I protested the government killing off the Yellowstone herd of bison and actively herded them to keep them from getting shot on snowshoes and cross-country skis in the middle of winter in West Yellowstone. I protected wilderness areas in Idaho, unlogged, roadless areas, stopped logging sale above Randall, Washington. That was a bad deal for America. It involved a land trade with the government, who got really awful land and were giving this company a beautiful old growth forest for that land. And after they cut it down, it was going to leave Randall exposed to landslides. And the first building that those landslides would have taken out would have been their elementary school. So that was one of the environmental campaigns, activist campaigns that I did, where the citizens were really behind us. The West Yellowstone, Buffalo Nations, the community loved us. Randall, the community loved us. And, I was one of the felonies at the WTO protest in 1999, the battle in Seattle. And what I was protesting was just, and aligns mostly with the conservative movement now. Having our country ruled, or any country, the Philippines, or the United States, we shouldn't be ruled by globalist, unelected bureaucrats who have none of our interest in mind. And that's what I was protesting at the WTO. And while my cause was just, I didn't necessarily protest correctly or as effectively as I could have. I did break a window, and I've suffered more than my fair share of consequences for it. For breaking one window, I have a felony, and it sucks. For breaking a window in 1999, but that's a good lesson for protesters today. Like, some of this stuff that you're doing is gonna be with you for the rest of your life. You should think twice before going online and saying dumb stuff or going to a protest and doing crazy stuff, because you're gonna have to deal with the consequences. Eventually, they're gonna catch up to you one way or another. You might get away with things once or twice or 5 times or 10 times, but eventually you're gonna get caught. It's gonna suck. But I'm saying this to say this. Most of these protesters that we're seeing right now are not paid. there are some that are paid. They're mostly involved with the socialist groups like DSA. And you'll be able to tell because they all have pre-printed signs that a lot of them are going to be the same. You might see them in multiple cities and it's the same pre-printed signs that look like somebody went to a print shop and had done, right? But most protesters do not belong. That's one like faction of the people protesting right now. The people who are more radical, the people who are more on the anarchist side, and then a lot of just the local citizens who are coming out are not paid. They're doing it because they believe in what they're doing. They believe in what they're protesting. You don't have to agree with what they're protesting or how they're doing it, but don't confuse their choice or their understanding of the world and the choices that they're making for bad intentions. They think they are the good people and they think they are doing the right thing. I am sure there's some maniacal psychopath somewhere in Antifa who really just want the whole world to burn. And nihilism can be a problem in a lot of protest movements because you focus so much on the bad things that are happening. And if even when you have a win, there's 10 losses all around you at the same time, and it begins to feel futile. And nihilism isn't a pretty rational answer to that. So you do get some real psychotic behavior from some of them. You know, the guys who are trying to light buildings on fire with people. I mean, what are you doing? But even the ones who are throwing rocks and being crude, being hateful towards the ICE agents, they're not evil people. They might not be educated in the issue. They might not have good emotional control or have had proper boundaries set for them. But these people mean well. They think they're the heroes. They want to be the heroes. They want to help. So don't discount these people as, oh, they're just doing it for the money, or, oh, they're just bad, evil people who just hate everybody and want all our kids to die. And I mean, a lot of their ideas are garbage. They really are. A lot of their actions are garbage. We have to do something about that and deal with that as best we can. But don't be confused about what's going on, because it's going to be a lot harder to fix if you're coming at it from a point of not understanding where they're coming from and who they are. You're not going to fix anything. And you know what? The protesters, the lefties, they're worth fixing. This is the artistic side of society. These are the left-brain people who are right-brain people, right? They come from a different world than the conservative movement. And they've made, this side of society has made a lot of what makes America great. I know we're all struggling with drugs because of the fentanyl crisis, but, half the music that you listen to was made by someone on heroin. Or cocaine at very least. Maybe amphetamines. Almost all of them were smoking cannabis. Maybe doing psychedelics. And they were leftists. And look, would you want a world without Led Zeppelin, without Janis Joplin and the Grateful Dead, and just all the music, just all of it, most of the art that you do. So, well, at some points, I feel like, maybe Hoppa's the answer. Hoppa 28, maybe. At the same time, these people are worth saving. We just have to get their heads straight, get them back on the right path to, more of like a 90s Democrat kind of thing. We need a good opposition. We need a good foil to keep the Republicans halfway honest. If we could get the Democratic Party back on track, back to a rational, humane, decent, policy positions and get the leftists to screw their heads back on and start doing the right things and making better choices. We could all, we're never all going to be the same. We're never all going to agree about everything, but we could get on the right path of being pro-human, pro-America, and work on things that we can do together, that we can agree on to make the world a better place. But these are our cousins, brothers, sisters, mothers, daughters, and we don't want a civil war. We really don't. Thanks for listening. I appreciate all you watching. And like, subscribe, share, comment, make a suggestion. And thanks. Take care. God bless.